I have cleaned the piece thoroughly, and I put shellac on it, just in case there will be any kind of bleeding or anything like that. I decided to go with a color which is dark color, which I'm hoping it's only going to take one coat, covering everything, and then this way I can actually layer the lighter colors on top of it to give a little bit of a shadow, kind of old finish, kind of vintage feel. So first we're going to start with the money tree, which is the green, and I'm going to be painting just a little section so this way it dries fast. But you want to put the whole, you want to paint the whole thing with money tree. You don't have to be perfect. That's the beauty of the milk paint. Milk paint, you don't have to be perfect when you paint it. When the paint actually texturizing it, it becomes a little bit of like a layer, and it looks good when it dries. Before you start layering other colors, you do want this first one to be dry, which is a beautiful weather outside today, so it will dry quickly. Okay, here is this first coat, and it's drying. And as you see, like I said before, the piece will be the first coat comes out very, very streaky. And if you see, follow my brush strokes, they're not perfect, absolutely not perfect. They're actually very messy, very messy. But as the paint dries, it dries much darker, and it's not as bright. This is what I love with milk paint, because it's just, the colors just dry really pretty, and it's not all same, it's all different shading. And now what I will be doing, I'll put the second coat and see if I need more coats after that. Once again, I am not painting perfect lines. I'm kind of putting the paint on and just I think I'll stick with 2 coats. I really don't think I'm going to need a third coat. I do love, see the shading right here. I love this shading because it makes me feel like the piece has been sitting somewhere for such a long time, and it's just, it's so old. Going back and forth, back and forth. I can give a little bit more texture, going like this, and then back and forth again. Just to grab my paint. If you do not let the paint dry completely, it will be streaky. Like right here, I did not let the paint dry completely right here. If I put the paint on it, it's not fully attaching itself because I'm redoing it. So I have to let this dry before I even do anything. Same thing right here. I might have to let this piece dry a little bit longer to get the result that I want. Okay, I have painted the whole piece one time, first coat, and you can see how streaky the piece is right here. This is the first coat, and it completely dried. This is still a little bit wet. I actually put a second coat in here. The second coat looks better, not fully what I'm looking for, so I will be putting another coat on top of this. However, I just wanted to show you, when I put the first coat, kind of went all over with the brush. I did not care, and that's fine. With the second coat, I actually want to put a little bit of texture going down. If you have detail, you can go to the right and down again. It gives you a little bit, like I said before, a little bit of a patina, because that's what milk paint gives you. It gives you the old finish of antique pieces, like they have been hidden away for a long time, but what you're really doing is you actually making them look better. Just going up and down, if that makes any sense anyway. If the paint is not dry, it will start streaking. That means you have to fully let the paint dry the first coat, because it will be streaking, it will not be covering like it's supposed to. I always take the drawers out, only because I don't want the paint to be all over the place. I like it to be neat. And like I said, if you have a detail, go up and down to the side, and it kind of gives you that, a little bit of a different shading, and then just go up and down. You don't have to be perfect. Nobody said you have to be perfect. So this is my second coat, and I'm using my paint line, which is Color Me Beautiful milk paint, and this color is Money Tree. And see how this was not completely dry, and I just went over it, and that's exactly what happened. It will make a smudge, so I have to let this piece completely dry before I paint it again. Usually when you paint, it takes about, when you let it dry, you should really let it dry to about half an hour to about an hour. Today's a really beautiful day, so this is actually drying in my studio really pretty quickly, which is great, but not quick enough to make this video. I will continue painting this whole piece, the second coat, so it will kind of look like this. Possibly I might put the third coat on. I'm not really sure. We'll see how I like it after the second coat goes on. Okay, the piece is painted 2 times. I have 2 coats on it, but I'm looking for more like a dramatic look. I don't want this piece to be very blah. I want it to be more, just a little bit more vintage. So I'm actually going to be playing around with something different that I've never used before, but I think it's going to look great. To do so, I'm taking a little bit of ice mist in a cup, and I'm going to use water, a lot of water, to make it kind of very white, very watery. And I'm going to add this into Windex, like an old bottle. You can use any bottle, pretty much. You don't have to use Windex. You can use any bottle that you want. I just had this one on hand, so I'm going to use that. If there's milk paint left, it's alright. It's not a big deal. You close it up. Now you can do this. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get like an effect on the piece. And just mix it a little bit. It's going to be foamy. It's alright. It's alright. What I'm trying to do, and I'm going to show you. I want to get like a little, I tried it already a little bit over here, if you can see. I want to get like an effect. I don't want to dry brush it because it's very hard to dry brushing it with milk paint. You can, but I'm just not looking for that kind of look. What I want it is like a, What I'm looking for is like a runny kind of look. That's the piece has been sitting there for a long time. And what I'll do is I'll take this and very closely to the piece, I'll just square it like this. Let that sit for a minute. Now, like I said, I don't want a dry brush look. I want to kind of look that it's like it's been sitting here. It's just a different kind of look. Okay, let me just get my brush. Okay, so how it's running down, I've noticed it's better to use kind of wet on wet with milk paint. You can actually use the brush of the same color that we used for that one, and you can start brushing a little bit down because I'm looking for that dry brush. Excuse me, for that wet look, like it's been sitting there. And you kind of just take it down, and you get this runny kind of look, but it's not so. That's exactly what I'm looking for. When it dries, it's going to dry kind of cool. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm going to do the same thing to this side. Now, I'm going to let it sit for a minute. So it runs down. See how you have different shading, just darker and just different. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I want a little bit of a different kind of look. Not the same look I always have, just different. I think this piece is just absolutely beautiful, and I just wanted something different for it. And I'm not touching the brush really hard. I'm just pretty much kind of like if you were dry brushing it, and you want to go with the lines because you want that to be there. We'll see how it looks. You might like it, you might not like it. And I'm going to do the same thing for the top. The more I do it, you got to work fast. The more I do it, the paint will start chipping. As you see, the paint is chipping. It's doing the crackle effect. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I love it. This is why I love milk paint. It's so great. When I put the wax on top of it, the green will actually be very much deeper, darker. Much deeper, darker. So we'll see how that looks. I think I'm going to do a little bit on top here. But I have to be careful because there's already the paint is chipping, and it gives you just, if you mix water with the paint and you put it on the piece, it's going to start chipping like it's chipping over here. But that's what I want. I want it chippy. I want it different. Now we have to let it dry and see how it comes out. I love it, but I think I'm gonna put a different color with it, not just so blah. I want deepness, darkness too. Okay, I have decided to do a little bit of a darker effect as I did the white effect on the sides. See how the sides are coming out? And it's still a little bit white, but it's exactly, I just want a little bit of darkness up here. And you can do that with wax, but I decided to do something. You see the lines of the white, and I just love it, love it, love it. So what I did is I actually took one of my other paints, which is called Dusty Wood. It's like a brownish, dusty color brownish. And I'm gonna do the same thing. I dumped the other thing out. You can actually have a couple of bottles if this is something like you like. You don't have to have the lines. It's a great way to add some kind of a different texture lighting into your piece. I've noticed it in a different way, because if you put a brush to it, it's just going to look very same. This kind of just gives you a little bit of I don't know, just a different kind of look. All right, so let's try it in here. Let's see if that works. Still have the white in it. Okay, let it run down. I love it. I love it because it's just so different. And I've painted with milk paint for so many times, but I just cannot get this dry kind of dry brushing with milk paint. You can, but it just doesn't come out. This is just a little bit different. It's just, I think, gives you that oldness, and it's been there for a while, and something a little different. So once again, I'm going to be using same brush as I've been using this whole time, which is the same color, Money Tree. And I'm going to see how this is running down. That's fine. It's perfect. It's actually perfect. I just want to take some of this down so it doesn't look so bad, but it gives the texture, so it's fine. And then here, I'm actually going to leave all those lines. Over here, I'm just going to go really softly, not hard, because if you go hard, you're going to take some of the paint off, and you don't want to do that. You can leave the lines. I kind of don't want to leave the lines. I kind of just want to smudge it a little bit. I might like it, I might not like it. You just cannot, with milk paint, you cannot be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of it. Just do paint whatever you want. This piece, before I put any kind of paint on this piece, however, I did cleaned it really, really good, and I put a little bit of shellac on it. What shellac does is actually protects it from bleeding, not only. I love it. You might not like it, but I love it. I really, really love it. Okay, let's try it on this side. Let me see, it's still a little wet, which is fine. Wet on wet. Not too much. I don't want it to do it too much. I'll let that dry a little bit, and I'll do this side. You want to keep the bottle really close to the piece, because otherwise it's going to be squirting and it's going to be making all kinds of dots all over the place, and you kind of don't want that. Let's do it here. I'm kind of just going crazy with it now. Let's see how it looks. I like it. Let's get rid of some of this, which is fine if it dries down a little bit. Okay, this up here, let's just very lightly touch it. Not much, just lightly. Okay, the rest I might just leave, only because I like the way it looks. And like I said, you might not like this look. I do. I love it. It's different. Let's see how it dries out. Let's see how it looks. The draw I'm actually leaving the same. I'm not really touching, not doing too much to it. I kind of want to leave it a little bit more green than the other pieces, the other stuff. And I'm going to do the same thing here. if by any chance you try something like this and you don't like it, well, you can always paint it over it. See how it's going down? Love it. Absolutely love it. It's got all the white already in it. And when I was painting it this way, like I told you before, painting this way, it gives you those strokes. That's what gives you the little bit of a patina. Once again, same brush, very lightly. You don't want the brush to be too wet. I mean, it's going to be wet no matter what. Okay, we'll see how it looks. I love it so far. It's very different. Okay, so as the piece is drying, you see all the different texture of paint that I have put on with the sprayer, which was, I was using milk paint, and a lot of water, pretty much. I left the drawer greener than the other section just to be different. Also, the paint as it's drying, it's not fully dry yet. The paint as it's drying, I just love it, absolutely love it. It's chipping a little bit, it's crackling, it's just everything that I exactly wanted for this piece. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Now, if you want it to be distressed, you can distress it as you like. I just want to take a little bit off the paint, a little bit, not too much, just to show the wood a little bit. And I'm using, you can use this, you can actually use one of these, you can use a little pads, whatever you desire. Whatever's easier for you, whatever you like. This is actually chippy, really chippy on this side. I'll use my nail. I personally love chippy pieces. If it's wet, you should not even touch it. Like I see I touched it over here. It should probably dry a little bit more. So I'll let it dry. But if it's dry, you can. Looks great. Looks awesome. I really, really love it. Absolutely love it. It's the patina, exactly what I was looking for. This is still drying here. This sometimes tends to grab milk paint and just does it a little bit better and chip it off. Well, it's looking great. I love it. It's exactly what I wanted.